In today's video, we're talking about definitions of robbery. So different definitions under the law in Arizona as they relate to different robbery charges. Under Arizona law, we have regular robbery, we have aggravated robbery, and then we have armed robbery. And there are different provisions that turn robbery into aggravated robbery or into armed robbery. But before we can understand any of them, we need to get some basic definitions understood. And so we can turn to the Arizona Revised Statutes to do that. Specifically, it's 13-1901, and these are the big definitions that we need to understand. So in the robbery, armed robbery, and aggravated robbery statutes, you'll see different language. You'll see the word force. You'll see in the course of committing, that language specifically. You'll see the word threat. But what do those really mean? Well, that's what this definition is for. It defines them. This part of the statute defines these different words. So you can see here, robbery, aggravated robbery, armed robbery are all going to be using these definitions, so we better know what they are. Let's start at the beginning. Force. What does force mean? Under Arizona law, specifically it means a physical act, so not just words, but an actual physical act directed against a person, so not other property, not an animal, against a person as a means of gaining control of property. So not just any force, but force as a means of actually gaining control of property. It's a physical act with intended to gain control, to gain access, to do something in order to gain control of property. That's what force means. What does in the course of committing mean? Also used elsewhere in these statutes, in the course of committing specifically means any act or any acts ranging from the beginning of the initiation of the robbery, so anything leading up to the initiation of the robbery, and extending all the way through the flight. So after the robbery has been completed, any acts extending from the flight. So a person fleeing, getting in a car, running away, flight from the robbery. So basically from the beginning all the way up until somebody's leaving the scene or in flight from the actual robbery. That is what's going to be in the course of committing. So anything that happens from that beginning all the way to that end point. And finally, threat. What is a threat? Here we're talking about verbal or physical. It's called, the statute calls it a menace. So a verbal or physical menace of imminent physical injury to a person. So it's either words or it's actions that are going to cause a person to believe there is going to be imminent physical injury to that person. So it's different than just using force. So force here has to be a physical act. A threat can be a verbal act. It can be language stating that there is going to be imminent physical injury. So you can see here, knowing these definitions are pretty important because you can draw some pretty good defenses to these things. So if the law says that you had forcefully done something, but it was only a verbal act and not a physical act, that's not the right language. It wasn't force. It may have been a threat, but it's not force. So you have to look at the definitions and understand clearly how they are written out, because it could open the door to some pretty serious defenses. So this is the robbery definition portion of the robbery cases. In other statutes and other videos, we talk specifically about robbery, aggravated robbery, and armed robbery, but it's important you understand this is the foundation to understanding these other charges. So if you or somebody you know or love has been charged with any form of robbery, regular robbery, aggravated robbery, armed robbery, make sure you understand this portion of the law as well as the charges under which they were cited so that you can start learning about how to best build a defense in your case. If you have been charged with this and would like to speak with our team, give us a call. We offer free case evaluations. We'll have you come into our office. We'll sit down, make sure you understand how this all works as it pertains to your case, and make sure you have a plan to move forward. We look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks for watching.